Okay, teacher, I need help. This is really confusing for me. Yesterday, I said to my friend, I did a mistake. And he looked at me like something was wrong. And then I said, I made my homework. And again, he corrected me. I don't understand. When do I use do and when do I use make? That is one of the most common problems in English. And let me tell you something important right now. You are not alone. After 20 years teaching English, I can say that almost every student makes this mistake. Why? Because in many languages, these two ideas are the same. But in English, do and make are different. And today we're going to fix this problem forever. Not with boring rules, not with long lists, but with real understanding. But what is the real difference? It is simple, but powerful. Let's start with something very simple. We use do for actions, and we use make for creation. But wait, don't try to memorize that like a rule. Let me explain it in a way you will never forget. Do is for action, no physical result. When you use do, you're talking about an activity, something you perform, something you complete. But there is no physical result. For example, do homework, do exercise, do the dishes, do your job, do something. When you say, I did my homework, you are not creating something new. You are completing a task. And make is to create. There is a result. Make is different. When you use make, you create something. There is a result. Again, something exists after the action. For example, make food, make a cake, make a plan, make a mistake, make money. When you say, I made a cake, now the cake exists. Oh, I think I understand a little. So make is like creating something, and do is like completing something? Exactly. That is the idea. But now let's go deeper, because in real English, it is not always that simple. But why is this so confusing? Here is the problem. Sometimes both do and make can feel similar. For example, you say, I made my homework, but in your mind, you think, I created my homework. That sounds logical, right? But in English, we say, I did my homework. That is the correct way. Why? Because homework is an activity, not something you create. I hope it's clear. And there are some common expressions you must learn. I will show you something very important. Instead of thinking too much, it's better to learn these common expressions. Let's go with some common expressions with do, like do homework, do exercise, do business, do the dishes, do your best, do nothing, do something. For example, I did the dishes after dinner. I always do my best. And now let's go with make. Some common expressions with make. Make a mistake. Make money. Make a decision. Make a plan. Make food. Make friends. Make a call. For example, I made a mistake or I made a decision. And also, I have to talk about some common mistakes. And the common mistake number one is do a mistake. This is one of the biggest mistakes. It's incorrect to say I did a mistake. The correct form is I made a mistake. Why? Because a mistake is something you create, even if it is not good. And another common mistake, let's call it mistake number two, is make homework. I made my homework is incorrect. The correct form is I did my homework. Homework is a task, not a creation. But in real life situation, and you have to listen to this part very carefully, let's imagine this situation. You are talking to a friend, okay? I was very tired yesterday, but I did my homework. Then I made dinner and I made a call to my friend. This is natural English. Do homework, make dinner, make a call. Yes, now I see the difference more clearly. Good. But we are just starting because I will give you a powerful trick, a very useful trick. Okay, so here's a simple trick I teach my students. If you can see or touch the result, then use make. And if it is just an activity, then use do. Again, I repeat, if you can see or touch the result, use make. If it is just an activity, use do. For example, food. You can see it, so make food. Homework is an activity, so do homework. But be careful, because this is an important warning. English is not always logical. There are expressions you must memorize. For example, make a bed. You don't create the bed, but we say make the bed. This is why practice is more important than logic. Remember that. And how native speakers really use this. Native speakers don't think, is this an action or a creation? No. They use patterns. They hear these expressions many times and they repeat them naturally. That is what you need to do. So let's go with a mini practice. Okay, you can try now. Let's practice. I will say a sentence and you choose do or make. And of course, then I will give you the answer or I will tell you if it's correct. Number one, I my homework yesterday. Did. I did my homework yesterday. Very good. Number two, I a cake for my family. I made a cake for my family. Very good. Number three, I a mistake in the test. That is, I made a mistake in the test. Excellent. Number four, I exercise every day. I do exercise every day because it is an activity. Excellent. That is correct. Now, how to remember this faster? Well, don't study this one time and then forget. You have to use it every day. When you speak, think, did I do something? Did I make something? And one final idea for just for this part, let me leave you with this idea is that you don't need to understand everything perfectly. You need to use it again and again because repetition creates confidence. So, we will go deeper, we will talk about more advanced examples, real conversations, tricky cases, and how to never confuse this again. I'm ready because now I finally understand the basics. Good, because we will make your English stronger and you will do it step by step. Now, let's take this to a deeper level because understanding the basic idea of do and make is good. But if you want to speak naturally, if you want to stop doubting every time you open your mouth, you need something more powerful. You need patterns, you need awareness, and you need real usage. Because in real life, nobody stops to think. Is this an action or a creation? No, they just speak. And today I will help you get closer to that level. So pay attention. So, how your brain learns do versus make. This is very important. Let me explain something that most students don't realize. Your brain does not learn English with rules. Your brain learns with repetition plus context. Let me repeat it. Your brain does not learn English with rules. Your brain learns with repetition plus context. If you hear, I made a decision, I made a decision, I made a decision, many times, you will start using it automatically. But if you only study make is create, you will still feel confused. So from now on, change your strategy. Learn in phrases, practice in sentences, repeat in real situations. And there are power expressions with make. These are high level English that you can learn. So I want to show you some expressions with make that are extremely common in real English, and many students don't use them. These expressions will make your English sound more natural immediately. And expressions are pay attention, make progress, make an effort, make a difference, make time, make sense, make someone happy. For example, I'm trying to make progress with my English. Or, I need to make more time for my family. Or, This explanation makes sense. These are not basic sentences anymore. This is real communication. And now let's go also with some power expressions with do. Daily English, very important. Let's look at do in a deeper way. Expressions like do well, do badly, do your best, do a good job, do work, do research. For example, you did a great job, or I am doing research for my project. And notice something, these are not physical actions only, they are general activities. And there is an advanced confusion, very important. I want to show you something tricky. Listen carefully. Make a decision. Okay, that is the correct. No, do a decision. That is incorrect. Do work. That is correct. Make work. That is not correct. Make money. That is the correct form. Do money is not correct. Do business. That is perfect. Make business is incorrect. You see, these are fixed expressions. You don't choose freely, you learn them. And now, a real conversation example, a very natural and real conversation example. Let me show you how this works in a real conversation. Yesterday, I had a lot to do. I did some work in the morning, and then I made an important decision about my job. Later, I made dinner, and I tried to make some time to relax. This is how native speakers use it naturally, without thinking too much. And now let's go with the feeling test. This is an advanced tip, so pay attention and stay focused. Here is something I developed after many years teaching English. The feeling test. When you are not sure, ask yourself, does this sound like a common phrase? If yes, it is probably correct. If it sounds strange, it probably is. For example, I made my homework. That sounds strange, right? So it's not correct. I did my homework. That sounds more natural. Then it is correct. So trust your ear. But to do that, you need exposure. And you're maybe wondering how to train my ear. How to train your ear. If you want to master do and make, then listen to English every day. Listen to podcasts, videos, conversations, and pay attention to these verbs. Every time you hear, make a decision, do your best, repeat it. This is how fluency is built. You can repeat this podcast one more time and repeat all the expressions with make and do. That's the best way to improve your English. We have to talk about one common mistake, that is overthinking. Very important. Some students stop speaking because they think too much. They say, wait, is it do or make? And then silence. This is worse than making a mistake because communication stops. So remember this: it is better to speak with a small mistake than not to speak at all. And in real life practice, and this is an important exercise, and I want you to practice something real. Answer these questions out loud. What do you usually do in the morning? What do you do at work or school? What do you do in your free time? Again, what do you usually do in the morning? What do you do at work or school? What do you do in your free time? Answer those questions in the comments. And now with the verb make. What do you make for breakfast? When was the last time you made a mistake? What decisions did you make recently? One more time. What do you make for breakfast? When was the last time you made a mistake? What decisions did you make recently? Speak or write your answers in the comments, not in your head. Speak, write, and speak out loud. It's important. But, teacher, how to build confidence step by step? Confidence does not come from knowing rules. I am sure about that. It comes from using the language. Start small. I did my homework. I made dinner. Then you can expand. I did my homework and then I made dinner for my family. Little by little, you grow. And the truth about fluency, let me tell you something very honest. Fluency is not about knowing everything. It is about using what you know again and again. Even native speakers repeat the same patterns. So don't try to be perfect. Try to be clear. Try to be consistent. Now, think about this. Before this lesson, do and make were confusing. They stopped you, they made you doubt. But now you understand the difference, you know the patterns, you have examples, and most importantly, you can start using them. Yes, now I feel more confident. I know I will still make mistakes, but I understand much more. And that is exactly what you need. Not perfection, progress. So now I want to challenge you right after this. Write or say this in English. What did you do yesterday? And what did you make? Again, what did you do yesterday? And what did you make? Think about your day. Use both verbs. Keep it simple, but real. And if this podcast helped you, subscribe to the channel, like this video please, share it with someone who is learning English, and write your answer in the comments. I want to read your sentences because every time you practice, you make progress. And every time you speak, you do something important for your future. Take care.